okay, Loki, Disney Plus show. Let's talk about it. What is up, YouTube? It's Mario here, aka the Loot Box Hero, and I forgot what show I was on. Oh man, but yeah, I am the Loot Box Hero right now, and what is up, you all? I'm going to review Loki today. I just watched episode 6, and I have to say, okay, alright, shit went down. So of course, just to set up here, Loki, the Disney Plus series, follows, well, Loki. He is the brother of Thor and everybody's favorite friendly neighborhood, not so giant ice giant. After an alternate version of the Battle of New York, where he steals the Tesseract and he dips. And he gets caught by this organization known as the TVA, the Time Variance Authority, and they are the police of time. So they police all the timelines to make sure nothing out of the ordinary happens and everything happens as it should in the MCU. So Loki is born a dude, Loki grows up, he attacks New York, he gets captured, he goes through his whole storyline, he gets killed by Thanos at the end. That is what's supposed to happen in every timeline ever. You know, the Avengers go back in time and they do all the in-game stuff. All that's supposed to happen. When it doesn't happen, the TVA steps in and somebody gets disappeared. And essentially that's what happens to Loki. And so of course Loki eventually ends up having to work for the TVA because there is another variant of Loki that is causing issues for the TVA and killing their agents and causing divergences in the timeline, and they need to shut them down. Alright, so that's where the show, that's the synopsis essentially. And I have to say, in every way, this show is the best Marvel show that they have done to date. I mean, WandaVision was pretty good, alright. Falcon and the Winter Soldier was pretty good. You know, more of that kind of Captain America 2 vibe. I dug that. That was good. The show's story and characters got gimped by reshoots. So, you know, that show was alright too. It wasn't bad, it was alright. But this show went flawlessly. Okay, like freaking Tom Hiddleston, like he's acting. He's really acting in this show. Alright, you can see the emotions on his face when he gets like crushed, when he realizes that he dies, when he realizes how he ended up getting his mother killed in Thor 2. You see all these reactions, and my favorite reaction is when he realizes just what situation he's in. You know what I'm saying? And just how hopeless it kind of is. Like that face of just like, you know, he doesn't know what to say. Loki was speechless. The Loki variants were funny, like the different versions of Loki. I'm not gonna go too much into it because then I go into spoilers, and I'll do another video on this where I explain what happens next, you know, after the end, because the end actually sets up Spider-Man 3. It kind of sort of ties into what Wanda already started, setting up the Multiverse of Madness. It also kind of sort of sets up Ant-Man 3. So there a lot of stuff. The ending of this show impacts a lot of stuff in Phase 4. Which, to me, it seems crazy, seeing as though I could have swore Kevin Feige said that the shows were not must-see TV. So you didn't have to watch the shows to follow the movie, but I kind of found that hard to believe after the end of the show. But hey, I don't know. You know, Feige's got a plan. You know, the story of the show, I will admit this is probably the tightest MCU show, because whereas some of the MCU shows can kind of diverge on the story a little bit, this show is tight. Like episode 3 kind of slowed down a bit and kind of veered off a bit on the story, but they got right back to it. This show is tight. It's very lean when it comes to the story. It sticks right to what it needs to do. which is good. If you're gonna do a 6-episode show, just stick to what you need to do, build the characters that you need to build, and then roll out. The special effects were pretty good. I think the only real negative when it comes to stuff like that is the fight choreography. The fight choreography was kind of off in a couple of these episodes. There are a couple of big fights where they're fighting a whole bunch of people. You know what I'm saying? Where it's kind of like, yeah, this fight choreography is not after. And it's kind of hard. It kind of sucks that this show came after Falcon and the Winter Soldier, where that show had such good choreography, and most of that show was like just fist fighting people. You know, and this show also has like magic and stuff. The cinematography is also really good. Alright, one thing about episode 3, episode 4, when they're on that planet, like the cinematography and the color scheme and stuff that they have for that is really good. I want to see more of that. I can't really think of any negatives for this. This show gets an A. So that's what I would say, unless you know, if I didn't have an extra day to kind of sit and kind of think and further digest this show. But yeah, there are a lot of things that are good with this show. There are negatives with the show. One big negative is the character of Loki himself. So Loki isn't really Loki in this show. Just come to think about it, like, I mean, I know that you know, Tom Hiddleston did a really good job of portraying like the face turn of Loki. So him getting, you know, crushed, seeing what's gonna happen to his life, you know, if he doesn't do something differently, you know, okay, that's fine. You know what I'm saying? He did really good with that. But the writing was different, because if you really think about it, a character like Loki would probably double down instead of completely changing. Like, I mean, in the comic books, there was a storyline like this where Loki finds out, you know, what happens to his life, and somebody tells him that essentially he is a stepping stone for other people's rise to greatness, and he kind of doubles down and becomes extra evil. And you know what I'm saying, he decides to become the most evil he possibly can be, and he goes through time and he tells kid Loki, you know, basically tells him about what's going to happen and tries to make him even more evil, which kind of backfires because he actually does turn and becomes a good a hero. But yeah, so that was definitely a big negative, because this face turn was way too quick. Alright, like, it was way too quick. If this is like a week or so after the Battle of New York, where Loki was a whole villain, yeah, like that's a pretty big plot hole, or not a plot hole, but that's a pretty big flaw in this show's logic. But other than that, I would definitely say the show gets a B. I wouldn't give it an A, but I definitely give it a B. The only real negative I can say about this show is the end is predictable, but not predictable. It's predictable in an unpredictable way. I'll say that much. I mean, a lot of people were talking about how they revealed Loki to be bisexual in this show. And a lot of people were saying that, oh no, it's woke and diversity and agendas and stuff. And I'm like, if there was one Marvel character that I really expected to not be straight, it's Loki, the god of mischief. You know what I'm saying? Now, of course, I didn't expect him to be bi. You know, personally, I thought Loki would probably be ace. You know, he'll probably be like asexual, because Loki doesn't care about your genitals. He doesn't care about your love. He doesn't care about any of that stuff. Loki cares about whatever his objective is. He cares about power. He wants power. He doesn't want you to bend over. He wants you to kneel before his greatness. You know what I'm saying? So I would think he would be ace, but I guess bisexual kind of works. You know, again, it doesn't really play much of a role in this show, because there's a kind of traditional, romance. I guess in the narcissistic way, kind of a traditional romance in this show. So of course, that's about it for this. I believe in the next couple days I'm going to do another video on Loki, talking about what happens beyond this point, because the implications of this are huge. Like, comment, subscribe, and as always, folks, good day to you.